Hello, everyone. So, today our topic will be about a pregnant woman who is substance dependent. So, what is substance dependence? It is a growing health problem in people of childbearing age. So, its incidence during pregnancy is also increasing, although the number of individuals who use illicit substances during pregnancy is unknown. So, what are the common illicit substances used? So, we have cocaine, amphetamines, cannabis and hashish, phencyclidine or PCP, inhalants, narcotic agonists, and alcohol. These common illicit substances have been known to be increasing among adolescents. And though there are increasing researches that adolescents have an increased rate of inhalant use and binge drinking of alcohol. So this is defined as the inability to meet major role obligations, an increase in legal problems or risk-taking behavior or hazardous situations because of substance dependence. When a person have substance when a person has substance dependence, and they undergo a withdrawal symptom, they experience continuation of the substance. This continuation of the substance, rather, combined with abandonment of important activities, spending increased time in activities related to the substance use, using substances for a longer time planned, and continued use despite worsening problems because of substance abuse. Substances can lead to fetal effects, and substance dependency can be responsible for fetal abnormalities or preterm birth. Illicit substances tend to be of small molecular weight and therefore readily cross the placenta. As a result, these substances can lead to fetal effects, and substance dependency can be responsible for fetal abnormalities or preterm birth. If a patient uses injected drugs, the risk of hepatitis C and HIV infection increases. Additionally, if a person or patient earns money to buy illicit substances through sex work, this increases the risk for STI, which can have consequences for the well-being of the pregnancy. Primary syphilis can cause serious disease for the infant. Untreated gonorrhea and chlamydia can cause preterm birth. Undiagnosed HIV can cause vertical transmission to the infant at delivery. Before we go to the common illicit drugs, let us have a quick recap on what are stimulants. So, stimulants is often the most component of the illicit drugs. They are they speed up the body system. So what is their origin? Stimulants are diverted from legitimate channels and clandestinely manufactured exclusively for the illicit market. So what is their effect on the mind? They produce a sense of exhilaration, enhance self-esteem, improve mental and physical performance, increase activity, reduce appetite, extend wakefulness for a prolonged period, and get high. So the person will have a feeling of a Superman-like feeling. So what do they look like? So they come in forms. Some are pills, powder, rocks, and injectable liquids. Their common street names include Benny's, Black, Beauty's, Cat, Coke, Crank, Crystals, Flake, Ice, Pellets, and the rest. How are they abused? Stimulants can be pills or capsules that are swallowed, smoking, snorting, or injecting stimulants which produces a sudden sensation known as a rush or a flash. So this abuse is often associated with a pattern of binge use, sporadically consuming large doses of stimulants over a short period of time. Heavy users may inject themselves every few hours, continuing until they have depleted their drug supply or reach a point of delirium, psychosis, and physical exhaustion. During heavy use, all of other interests become secondary to recreating the initial euphoric rush. So let's go to the first common abused stimulants. This is the cocaine. So what is cocaine? It is an addictive stimulant drug made from the leaves of the cocoa plant Erythrocylon coca, which is native to South America. Cocaine can be snorted through the nose, rubbed into gums, injected into the bloodstream, or smoked. It causes extreme vasoconstriction, hypertension, and may mimic preeclampsia for pregnant women. It also crosses the placenta and fetal blood-brain barrier. So, laboratory findings usually can be detected through urinalysis because of the metabolites of cocaine, and it can be detected in the urine up to 1 week after use. So, what is the implication for pregnant women? Since drug addicted pregnant women are afraid to come and be treated to the hospital, they usually end up bleeding or drying themselves out before going to the hospital in the hopes that it won't be detected in their urine after 1 week of use. This causes exceptional harm during pregnancy because the extreme vasoconstriction can severely compromise placental circulation, leading to premature separation of the placenta, which then results in preterm labor or fetal death. So cocaine use causes spontaneous abnormality, premature abruption placenta, fetal death, decreased growth, birth weight, length, head circumference, neonatal tachycardia, cerebral infarction. So even if the mother feels a sense of well-being, excitement, rush, or flush, it in turn causes congenital anomalies, decreased fetal heart rate variability from poor tissue perfusion. It severely compromises placental circulation during pregnancy, which causes premature separation of the placenta, which then results in preterm labor or fetal death. Infants of birthing parents who uses cocaine can suffer the immediate effects of intracranial hemorrhage. The abstinence syndrome of tremulousness, irritability, and muscle rigidity is seen in infants born from mothers who used cocaine. So what happens to the babies whose mother is using cocaine abusively? So the babies will be known as crack babies. What are they? So these are babies born of moms who are using cocaine. They have jittery, jittery or tremors, high-pitched cry, irritability, excessive suck, hyperalertness, autonomic instability. They are often associated with delayed cognitive language development. These babies are jittery and they cry frequently and incredibly difficult to soothe and must be weaned off narcotics in their first weeks of life. This means that 5 and 6 pound babies are literally given opiates so they don't experience the worst pangs of withdrawal. So these babies spend a minimum of a week in special nursery care after birth, often longer. These babies are pitiful to see. You can see them in their bassinets just vibrating from these tremors. And nurses hold them as much as possible, and it's even best if they can baby wear them. So we will have a short video of what Judenrest look like. So what are the management of cocaine? So beta blockers are known contraindications because it can worsen withdrawal symptoms by blocking compensatory adrenergic responses. So what are beta blockers class? Beta blockers can aggravate some arrhythmias. They slow heart rate, or low blood pressure. And most beta blockers will aggravate either of these conditions by further lowering heart rate and blood pressure. So beta blockers are not given for patients who are cocaine addicted. Also, counsel patients to discontinue use during pregnancy. Amphetamines. So amphetamines or methamphetamines, or the street name is speed, is a neurostimulant and neurotoxin that has a pharmacologic effect similar to cocaine. It is easily and cheaply manufactured in home labs and can be more commonly used than cocaine. Ice is a rock type of methamphetamine that is smoked, can produce high concentrations of the substance in the blood. So people who use it often develop blackened or infected teeth. Newborns whose birthing parents use the substance show jitteriness and poor feeding at birth and may be growth restricted. Next stimulant is the cannabis and hashish. Both cannabis and hashish are obtained from the hemp plant cannabis. So they are parts of the cannabis sativa plant. The major difference between the two is that the term weed usually applies to the dried pieces. These are the weeds of the plant, mainly the flower buds, while hash is a paste. This one from resin or sap of the plant. So in general, marijuana is a type of grass plant that grows quickly, a reason for its nickname weed in tropical or subtropical climates. So the buds and stems and flowers from a mature plant are typically dried and turned into smoking weed or pot. How do we get the hash? So to get the hash from the marijuana plant, cultivators separate glandular hairs called trichomes and compress them into a dense block using heat. So this is an example of a hash. If you look it under the microscope, this one, so trichomes appear as clear viscous tentacles. So the resulting product resembles a sort of a marijuana sap. So when smoked, they produce tachycardia and a sense of well-being. Although not advised, some patients use cannabis to counteract nausea in early pregnancy. So with the increase in the legalization of medical cannabis and the more general decriminalization of cannabis in some parts of the US, there has been an uptick in the number of pregnant people legally using cannabis during pregnancy. Though cannabis is still associated with loss of short-term memory and an increased incidence of respiratory infection in adults. It still poses significant risks to both mother and the developing fetus. Cannabis can cross the placenta, potentially affecting fetal and brain development and leading to long-term cognitive and behavioral issues. Research indicates that marijuana use during pregnancy may result in low birth weight, increased risk of preterm, and even stillbirth. Still, newborns will experience cannabis withdrawal similar to opioid withdrawal, jitteriness, high-pitched cry, increased muscle tone, and uncoordinated suck and swallow. A frequent user may be advised not to breastfeed because of the possible risk to the newborn from excretion of the substance in the milk, in the breast milk. So what is PCP? It is phencyclidine. This was developed in the 1950s as an intravenous anesthetic. Its street drug is known as PCP or angel dust. It is a dissociative anesthetic mainly used recreationally for its significant mild mind-altering effects. This is the most frequently abused drug known to cross the placenta and may cause harmful effects in the fetus. Although it was originally developed as an intravenous anesthetic, it is no longer used that way because although it creates a sense of euphoria, it causes irritation and possibly long-term hallucinations, that is, flashback episodes, and it is now seen most frequently as part of polysubstance use. Because the substance tends to leave the parenteral circulation and concentrate in fetal cells, it may particularly be injurious to the fetus. Next, we have the narcotic agents, or that is the opiates, used for the relief of pain such as morphine, oxycodone, meperidine, or Demerol, codeine, and fentanyl. They are widely used and misused substances because they can be obtained by prescription or on the street and have a dramatic euphoric effect. Heroin is a raw illicit opiate, and its use is also increasing in incidence. It may be administered through skin popping or intradermally, through inhalation or snorting, and through intravenously shooting. So, skin popping, snorting, or shooting. It produces an immediate and short-lived feeling of euphoria immediately followed by sedation. So pregnancy complications related to its use include gestational hypertension, and because the substance is often injected with shared needles, phlebitis, subacute bacterial endocarditis, and hepatitis C and HIV infections may occur. Withdrawal symptoms include nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, abdominal pain, shivering, insomnia, body aches, and muscle jerks. So these addicts or substance abuse people who use narcotic agonists will demonstrate the same withdrawal symptoms after birth as the birthing parent would if they abruptly stop taking the substance. So what is the medication used to reverse the effects of opioid agents during emergency situations? So these are the Narcan or the naloxone. It is safe for use during pregnancy to treat the respiratory or cardiac code related to opioid overdose. It may cause withdrawal symptoms in the fetus in utero, but the alternative of not treating the pregnant person who was overdosed is death that would ultimately lead to fetal death as well. So one of the narcotic agents is heroin. Heroin used during pregnancy can result in neonatal abstinence syndrome. So this one. It occurs when heroin passes through the placenta to the fetus during pregnancy, causing the baby to become dependent along with the mother. So when a pregnant woman uses heroin, it enters her bloodstream and crosses the placenta to the baby. Heroin in the baby's bloodstream reaches the baby's heart and other organs and has been shown to affect the breathing movements and heart rate of a baby in the womb. Taking too much heroin or heroin that contains other drugs or substances can result in poisoning or even death of the baby and the mother. So let's go back to neonatal abstinence syndrome. This increased autonomic reactivity, withdrawal symptoms begin 24 hours after birth, 40 hours with methadone or buprenorphine. It causes prematurity. And what is our management? It should be supportive. The patient will experience psychomotor and neurologic abnormalities, SIDS or SIDS, adverse developmental outcomes. Methadone treatment used in pregnancy is not associated with birth defects, though, but buprenorphine is a good alternative. Next, we have inhalants. So most of these substances seems innocent. However, they contain freon as a propellant, which can lead to severe respiratory and cardiac irregularities. So inhalant use refers to the sniffing and huffing of aerosol substances. Frequent use by adolescents, inhalants include modal airplane glue, cooking sprays, and computer keyboard cleaner. They appear to have effects similar to alcohol dependency. The respiratory depression they can cause could be enough to limit fetal oxygen supply to a serious level. So next is we have alcohol abuse. Alcohol is just as detrimental to fetal growth as illicit substances. Fetal alcohol spectrum disorder is a syndrome with recognizable facial features, possible cognitive challenges, and memory deficit, which occurs. Therefore, pregnant people are advised to drink no alcohol during pregnancy. So, fetal alcohol syndrome has these manifestations: low nasal bridge, minor ear abnormalities, indistinct philtrum, micrognathia, thin upper lip, short palpebral fissures, fat midline and short nose, and epicanthal folds. So when discussing alcohol ingestion with patients, be certain to mention binge drinking, which means 5 or more alcohol drinks on one occasion. To be sure they do not believe this type of occasional drinking is safe during pregnancy. Next is tobacco. So tobacco is or smoking during pregnancy can have serious health consequences for both the baby and the pregnant person. The impaired oxygen delivery causes nicotine-induced vasospasm, carbon monoxide and other chemicals, chromosomal instability, and lung development. It can cause birth defects, preterm birth, low birth weight, and SIDS. So, smoking increases the risk of pregnancy complications, including abnormal bleeding, miscarriage, and stillbirth. Smoking and use of nicotine substitute in first 12 weeks, slight risk of congenital malformations. So pharmacotherapy for those who are unwilling to quit are given. Interestingly, decreased risk of preeclampsia. So quit nicotine use during pregnancy is associated with an increased risk of pregnancy loss and sudden infant death syndrome or SIDS. Quitting smoking at any time during pregnancy can help protect the health of the pregnant person and give babies a healthier life. So tobacco or smoking, this also includes vaping. So how can we help sub patients, pregnant patients who are in substance abuse? The substance use during pregnancy involves a phase of group of behavioral, cognitive, and physiological symptoms, such as inability to control drug abuse and repetitive use of substance in spite of adverse maternal and adverse fetal effects. So how do we do it? We ask at each visit, we advise cessation, we assess if the patient is willing to change, assist or establish a plan, arrange follow-up and referrals and support. One of our nursing priorities for patients on substance abuse during pregnancy is to ensure maternal and fetal safety, provide a non-judgmental supportive care, assess and manage withdrawal symptoms, and ensure access to appropriate prenatal care. Because some addicted patients, pregnant patients rather, will not be willing to go to prenatal care if they believe that they will be reprimanded or they will be in jail for their illegal use of drugs. We should promote healthy lifestyle choices, facilitate substance abuse treatment referrals, advocate for the rights and best interests of the mother and the child. Thank you, and that's all for today.